streetlight. I am the dark girl who crossed the Red Sea, carrying in my body the seed of the free. I am the woman who worked in the field, bringing the cotton and the corn to yield. I am the one who labored as a slave, beaten and mistreated for the work that I gave. Children sold away from me. I'm husband sold too. No safety, no love, no respect was I due. 300 years in the deepest South. But God put a song and a prayer in my mouth. God put a dream like steel in my soul. Now through my children, I'm reaching the goal. Now through my children, young and free, I realize the blessing deed to me. I couldn't read back then. I couldn't write. I had nothing back there in the night. Sometimes the valley was filled with tears, but I kept trudging on through those long years. Sometimes, the road was hot with the sun, but I had to keep on till my work was done. I had to keep on, no stopping for me, for I was the seed of the coming free. I was the seed of the coming free. I nourished in my soul, deep in my soul, something that no one could smother. I was the Negro mother. So now my children, my beautiful, beautiful dark children, may my prayers and my dreams impel you forever up the great stairs. For I will be with you till no white dare keeps down the children of the Negro mother.
Though the road to success is as the road to salvation, a slim and narrow road paved with trial and tribulation. Difficulties, obstacles are yet not impossible to overcome. My keys to success, inner strength, and application of wisdom. I refuse to fail. I refuse to fall. I can prevail. I can conquer all. See, I wasn't always in this peaceful space. It took great efforts to get me where I am in this race, the race of life in which I'm competing against myself for peace, prosperity, and a sense of health. I refuse to fail. I refuse to fall. I can prevail. I can conquer all. I can prevail. I can conquer all. See, negative thinking has no place with mine. I said negative thinking has no place with me and mine. Either it's positive or it's a waste of time. Time wasted doesn't quite equate with my soul. I can become a better woman if I work toward my goal. I refuse to fail. I refuse to fall. I can prevail. I can conquer all. Slow it down will not get me where I need to be. I need not stop my activities. I need to see the fruits of my labor, the work of my hands. In less than 7 years, reach financial independence and become my own woman. I refuse to fail. I refuse to fall. I can prevail. I can conquer all. I need not work for somebody else and increase their growth. I said I need not work for somebody else and increase their growth. That's no way to end my story. I refuse to fail. I refuse to fall. I can prevail. I can conquer all. I refuse to fail. I refuse to fall. I can prevail. I can conquer all. See, I set my head straight. I said my head is straight. My path I must not falter. I will not alter. My answer on this position can be answered in my affirmation. I refuse to fail. I refuse to fall. I can prevail. I can conquer all.
This thought. How does it feel to be a problem? When you woke up early this morning and you looked in the mirror, I am so sure you did not perceive yourself as a problem. A problem, a problem, a problem. Likewise, the determination down in our forefathers' souls persevered and brought us to where we are today. Now, likewise, cannot see the montage of culture that flows through my veins. But yet, you can't help but to see the rich caramelization of my skin, my high cheekbones, my thick lips, my broad nose, and the tight curly locks that so gently embrace my face. But because I am not like you, I am viewed as a problem. Well, perhaps not by you, but for those who view the intimidating resume of my forefathers as something profound, I am viewed as such a problem. I'm sorry, you have my folder. Thank you. Therefore, birthing the concept of the liberal notion that more government programs can solve racial problems. The thought is simplistic, precisely because it focuses solely on the economic dimension and the conservative idea that what is needed is a change in the moral behavior of poor black urban dwellers, especially poor black men who they say should stay married, support their children, and stop committing so much crime. These highlight immoral actions while ignoring public responsibility for the immoral circumstances that haunt our fellow citizens. In the words of Dorothy Height, president of the National Council of Negro Women, the common denominator of these views of race is that each still sees black people as a problem people rather than a fellow American citizen with a problem. Her words echo the poignant, unasked questions of W.E.B. Du Bois, who in 1903 wrote in The Souls of Black Folk. They approached me in a half-hesitant sort of way, I mean curiously, and instead of asking me, how does it feel to be a problem? They say, I know an excellent colored man in my town. Do not these sudden outrages make your blood boil? Well, at these I smile, or am interested, reducing the boiling to a simmer, as the occasion may require. But to the real question, how does it feel to be a problem? Well, I seldom answer a word. Yet today, nearly a century later, we confine discussions about race in America to the problems black people pose for whites, rather than consider what this way of viewing black people reveals about us as a nation. This paralyzing framework encourages liberals to believe their guilty consciences by supporting public funds directed at the problems, but at the same time reluctant to exercise principled criticism of black people. For you see, liberals deny them the freedom to err. Similarly, conservatives blame the problems on black people themselves, thereby rendering social misery invisible and unworthy of public attention. Hence, for liberals, black people are to be included and integrated into our society and culture, while for conservatives, they are to be well-behaved and worthy of acceptance by our way of life. Both fail to see that the presence and predicaments of black people are neither additions to nor defections from American life, but rather constitutive elements of that life. To engage in a serious discussion of race in America, we must begin not with the problems of black people, but with the flaws of American society. Flaws rooted in historic inequality and long-standing cultural stereotypes. How we set up the terms for discussing racial issues shapes our perception and response to these issues. As long as Black people are viewed as a them, the burdens fall on Blacks to do all the cultural and moral work necessary for healthy race relations. The implication is that only certain Americans can define what it really means to be American, and the rest must simply fit in. So, I pose this question to you again. How does it feel to be a problem? Well, I choose to seldom answer a word.
Enemy of the world. The Black man. We struck through the world like some dusty colossus, looming larger than life itself. A nightmare, a fantasy, an American original. Fear, emulated, shunned, desire. We are Colin Powell, Willie Horton, Louis Farrakhan, and Tiger Woods. We are Jesse Jackson and O.J. Simpson. We are the deliverer and the... We are as complex and as intricate as American history, and in many respects are every bit as confused. Jazz and rap are folk that we created, in which we excel. We define American music. Just like in basketball or boxing, two activities that we dominate. We are the face of American sports. We set the standard for style. We make concrete the very meaning of cool. White men in the boardroom envy our style and our confidence. White kids in the suburbs, they want to walk like us. They want to talk like us. They want to dress like us. And some of them, in their pursuit of ghetto chic, are fashioning rapper wannabe gold teeth. Yet as much as they want to be like us, they have no desire to be us. Well, maybe some of them want to be the next one. Michael Jordan. Yet, for special as we are, we hold a tenuous place on this earth. And as gifted and as special as we are, when it comes down to functioning on a court or a floodlit stage, when we walk the streets at night, we are more likely to inspire anxiety than affection. Still, for those who are Black men, and for those who care about it, I invite you to contemplate how far we have come and where we should be headed. And I also invite you to take some time to appreciate our accomplishments as well as our potential, and acknowledging all that we have become and have overcome.
What it takes to be a man.
James Baldwin is one of the finest writers that God has blessed us with. And he nailed it when he said, the great problem is how to be, in the sense of that complicated word, a man. You see, manhood by definition is not something that we're born with, but it's something that you grow into. It's something that you come into. Contrary to popular belief, a boy is not born a man, but he grows into being a man by the things that he suffers, by the way he learns to deal with people and problems,
by the way he learns to handle situations as they arise, and by the way he learns to stand up for himself. While we're on the subject of standing up for themselves, we often teach our boys at the age as young as 2 and 3 that it's not okay to come running crying to mama when you're hurt or even when you're scared. I mean, they have to learn to stand on their own 2 feet as soon as possible. That's a lot of pressure for anybody, much less a little boy. I mean, he can't even be himself. He has to be a man in his parents' eyes. He got to be a man while he's playing outside on the jungle gym with his boys. I mean, he better not tell somebody that he loves his teddy bear or that he's even afraid of the dark. It's sad. It really, really is. These patterns of hiding themselves just so that they can be considered one of the boys tend to follow men, all men, throughout their life. But with black men, our brothers, it takes on the added dimension of race. Talk with me for a moment. For the white men, the rules are clear, okay? Be ambitious, be aggressive, be assertive. Being a man means having physical power, being a faithful husband, being able to protect yourselves and the lives of your family, being the breadwinner. Now that I think about it, all men are sent that message. But the black man, he sent the additional message. If you're ambitious, you're too uppity.
Right.
And if you're assertive or too aggressive, you're a social threat.
Right.
The opposing pools of these mixed messages leads to psychic pain. We find our brothers try to prove their masculinity, their manhood in the home, to the streets, to the boardroom, trying to prove to this world that they're a man. Always knowing that this world will never reward them for their masculine power. James Baldwin wrote about a friend who once told him a story about his father. His father let him know, son, I just want to let you know, a black man will never be president. That was before Obama. What that father didn't realize is that his son wanted to be president more than anything. And that day, he killed the seed that had been growing in the black boy. He killed it. And from that point on, he always felt that he would never reach the top of the mountain. For black men, the never-ending quest to be a man and society's putting down of that manhood is an open wound that never closes. Some men find ways to provide themselves with a sense of worth that does not come directly from the outside world. For many others, this task is much harder. Unable to shake the idea that they are less than in the eyes of culture, they begin to evolve a defense mechanism that sows the seeds of depression.
Born in Franklin County, Virginia, in the mid-1850s, Booker T. Washington spent his early childhood in slavery. Following emancipation, Washington, like many blacks, felt that a formalized education was the best way to improve his living standards. Due to social segregation, the availability of education for blacks was fairly limited. Washington traveled to Hampton Institute, where he undertook industrial education. At Hampton, his studies focused on the acquisition of industrial or practical working skills. Born in 1868 in Great Barrington, Massachusetts, W.E.B. Du Bois grew up both free and in the North. Ergo, he did not experience the harsh conditions of slavery or of Southern prejudice. He grew up in a predominantly white environment, attended Fisk University as an undergraduate, and later became the first African American to receive a doctorate from Harvard University. Du Bois believed in what he called the talented tenth of the black population, who through their intellectual accomplishments would rise up to lead the black masses. One of the biggest disagreements and philosophies between the two was over the issue of black suffrage. In terms of voting, Du Bois believed that agitating for the ballot was necessary. He believed that the economic gains were not secure unless there was political power to safeguard them. Washington, on the other hand, felt that Du Bois' militant agitation did more harm than good and served only to irritate Southern whites. As a Southerner himself, Washington was familiar with the needs of Southern blacks as well as the treatment that they received. Washington stressed that blacks should stop agitating for voting and civil rights, not only in exchange for economic gains and security, but also for reduced anti-black violence. While there were many points of contention between Washington and Du Bois, there were similarities in their philosophies as well. Both worked adamantly against lynching and opposed racially motivated violence. In honor of these two philosophical giants, Dudley, Randall, poet, publisher, and editor, wrote in 1969 his famous poem simply entitled Booker T and W.E.B. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy.
It seems to me, said Booker T, it shows a mighty lot of cheek to study chemistry and Greek. When Mr. Charlie needs a hand to hold a cotton on his land, or when Miss Ann looks for a cook, why stick your nose inside a book?
I don't agree, said W.E.B. If I should have the drive to seek the knowledge of chemistry or Greek, I'll do it. Charles and Miss can look another place for a hand to cook. Some men rejoice in skilled hand, and some in cultivating land. But there are others who maintain the right to cultivate the brain.
It seems to me, said Booker T, that all you folks that missed the boat, who shout about the right to vote and spend vain days and sleepless nights in an uproar over civil rights, shut your mouth, do not grouse, but work, save, and buy you a house.
I don't agree, said W.E.B. For what can property avail if dignity and justice fail? Unless you have made the law, they'll steal your house with a trunk or a claw. A rope is tight, a fire is hot, no matter how much cash you got. Speak soft, try a little blame. But as for me, I'll be a man.
It seems to me, said Booker T.
I don't agree, said W.E.B.